Alright guys, just had a delivery today, much to my surprise. Today's a Saturday. The board was shipped yesterday and it's already here, so I think it was coming from New Jersey. Yeah, Vineland, New Jersey. So I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm not too far away, which explains why I was here so fast. But anyway, basically I got this board from your MK3 Mike on YouTube. It was a non-working board that he converted from a UMK to an MK3 for me. It had two issues with the two ROMs there that are missing on the board. They were turning red. I got it with intentions of repairing it, but I kind of was way in over my head. These chips are surface mount, which I actually found out that's what they're called. They're surface mount chips, which means they don't go through the board. As you can see on the other side, they're solder points, but they're not for these chips. So you can't just flip the board over, desolder it, and pop it out and put a new one in. It's a really hard process to change them out. So I ended up breaking a couple traces just removing those chips. So that's going to be my parts board now. I think it was that Nizzle like N1ZZLE on KLV forums. I made a post on there saying that does anybody have a working UMK board or non-working that's easily fixed, because I wanted to find something to swap those ROMs into. So he's had this UMK Juggernaut edition board, and he was going to sell it to me for a reasonable price. And of course he was going to post a video of it working, the ROM boot up and everything. And he realized this is a common mistake and it can happen to anybody. I believe it was this one here, the security chip was put in backwards. And when he booted it up, it started making all kinds of weird noises and going haywire and everything. So he immediately turned it off. But all was lost pretty much. Unfortunately, all it takes is like a second or two of power to the board with the ROM in backwards, and that's it for the ROM. So I got a discount price on it, and I'm going to get to try out my new test rig, which is pretty much just a JAMA extension harness coming from the last slot number 6 on my switcher, which I'm going to use this to test PCBs without having to actually physically pull the machine out from the wall. So let's do an initial test here and see what happens, if anything happens with this board. I would imagine that nothing's going to happen. Let me get my key quick. Get it back. I imagine nothing's going to happen. This board's not even going to boot, because that's what the security chip does. It tells the board that what game to run, basically. And without that, it's not going to run. So here you can see hopefully you can see my extension harness here. It says component side. So let me grab something to insulate it. Basically, I'm just going to stick this board in between the metal door and the PCB, that way it doesn't short out or anything like that. I have hardwood floors, so I don't have to worry about it being on the carpet or anything. So, plug this bad boy in and see what happens here. Alright, it's plugged in. Turn it on. Now all my games are hooked up to this power strip, so they're all going to come on. But
Watch will be.
This is just for testing purposes. So I'm going to select slot number 6. There it goes. The board's getting power. The LED's lighting up on it. There was a sound effect that just played. Kind of funny. But yeah. It's playing random sound effects right now. I switched to one of my other boards just to show you that everything is working. It is just playing random sound effects, so obviously that board is foobarred at the moment. This is my MK1. So everything's working. With the cabinet, it's not that, it's the board. So that's alright. That's what I was expecting. And that's why I got a discount on it. So basically what I'm going to attempt to do, now this is the first time I've ever done it, I'm going to transfer all my MK3 ROMs over to this board, and hopefully I'll have a working MK3. Excuse me. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to do this just for my edification. I'm going to just swap out that security chip. Even though this is a UMK, well no, I guess that won't work. No, I'm wrong. Yeah, I can't swap in my MK3 chip, I don't think, because they would have to be a UMK to work with this board. So, yeah, won't work. Sorry about that. Let me turn the camera around here. Basically, I'm going to have to swap a bunch of ROMs. Yourmkarcadesource, I always get that wrong, has a very helpful video on his channel about the differences between MK3 and the UMK ROMs. As you can see, Ultimate, it has 4 rows, and then it skips a space, and then it's 4 more ROMs. The MK3 has 5 rows and nothing down below. And I believe in the video he states the only, if you're doing an Ultimate to MK3 swap, the only sound ROM you have to change, I believe, is this one, because this is what holds the attract sounds for MK3. You can leave the Ultimate one in here, the Ultimate MK, but you won't have attract sounds for your MK3, if that makes any sense. So I think he's already got that replaced. So basically what I'm going to do is just go through, remove a chip at a time, swap it in the other place and on the other board. I'm going to label these as I take them out. That way I know what they are. I am going to be getting a ROM programmer, EEPROM programmer. It's the top 853 model. Ctazi and Mike both had that, and they seem to like it. It works good for the MK, so that's really all I need it for. I might try to program a different CPU EEPROM for my Baywatch pinball, but I'm not quite sure if that'll work for it or not. If not, it's no huge deal. I mainly got it for these boards. So I'm going to pause the camera. I'm not going to film me swapping all these chips out because it's going to take me quite a long time, because you got to very carefully pull them out, make sure that the pins don't get bent, and make sure there's a little dimple on one end. You want to make sure that that matches the dimple on the socket that it goes into. If not, that's what happened to the Ultimate MK board that I just got today, that somebody put the security chip in wrong, and that was it. It wiped it out. So I'm hoping that nothing got burnt on the board itself. Supposedly most of the time when you install the ROMs backwards, all it does is it'll ruin the ROM. That's it. It doesn't short anything out on the board or blow any transistors or any whatever, you know, any chips or any components. So I'm hoping that just a quick swap and I'll have a working MK3 board, and also I can save these chips, especially the revision, because this is Juggernaut revisions. So I'll save those, and if I ever do decide to convert my UMK that I have now, it's a version 3.0 I believe. If I ever do decide to convert it, I can easily convert it to the Juggernaut revisions. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera, and when I come back I should have a board with everything swapped in. So I'll be back.